Restaurant Hospitality's Rising Stars is sponsored by Kikkoman.
I want to talk to Chris Viaud. Nice to meet you. Am I pronouncing your name right, Viaud?
Yeah, you're actually one of the first to get it correct in the first try.
Wow. Well, gosh, I learned French and Haitian is, related.
Exactly.
So you are the chef of Greenleaf and Ansanm, which is opening soon. Is that right?
That's right. Yes, we're hoping to open Ansanm by the end of this month.
That cool. And it is Haitian, right?
That's it. Yes.
Tell me, and you are also a Haitian American, right?
Correct. Yeah, first generation.
Well, welcome. Although you and I were both born here, so I don't know how I get there. But please tell me about this new restaurant, Ansanm.
Yes, absolutely. So Ansanm came to be just out of the desire for me to learn more about the food that I grew up eating and the passion that I have for Haitian food and culture. I wanted to be able to have an outlet to share my passion for the communities around and whoever's interested to learn a little bit more about a culture that they might not be familiar with. So we began as a pop-up concept, just hosting the dinners once a month out of our space Greenleaf. And from there, it just blew up as a concept where so many people were interested in learning about everything that we had to offer. And during each dinner, we would come and talk about the food, talk about a little bit of our upbringings, talk about the reasoning behind the relations of the Haitian food to the rest of the African diaspora, or how you can see the correlation between some of the food that we might eat here in America. And throughout the course of the year and a half, I've noticed that there was such a interest in learning more about a cuisine that's so unfamiliar. And it came to be that there was an opportunity of a space that was open that I could host Ansanm as a brick and mortar. And from there, it was kind of just like a no-brainer. And I pulled the family together and said, listen, if this is something that we all want to do together, I'd of course be willing to 100% put all my work into it and make sure that this is something that we're pretty much pulling a lot of our energy right into.
And so this is a whole VO family endeavor?
That's correct, yes. Yeah, so the main thing was just to bring my family together to learn about all these recipes that we grew up eating. And my mom was primarily the cook, cooking all these delicious food that we wanted to be able to pass down for each generation. So in our culture, there's not too much of recipe writing. It's more so you're feeling the product, you're tasting, you adjust here and there. And we wanted to make sure that moving forward, we would be able to have those recipes in our portfolio. So we began on a Google Drive, just so we're easily available to share all the documents. And it'll make it easier for if anybody ever wants to pull back on any of those recipes that we grew up eating, we have them right there. And we can continue to pass that down as kind of like our legacy.
Is it hard to take first of all, a home recipe and turn it into, or a home dish and turn it into a restaurant dish? And then also a dish that's usually made by taste and touch and feel and understanding of the produce and turning that into a standardized restaurant thing.
Yeah, it definitely was a challenge thinking about the scalability of each object. But as each dinner went on, we understood exactly how much dry ingredients we need to have the finish outcome. And we were able to just scale each recipe, just building off of a recipe that was for 2 to 4. Knowing we have maybe 100 people coming in, we can just multiply that to get us what we need. And of course, with tasting, there's a difference between cooking for 2 people than there is for 100. You have to constantly taste and adjust and make sure that things are still tasting very familiar to the original concept. And
how is it hard to translate traditional Haitian food to a wider palate? I assume most of your customers aren't Haitian Americans, so do you try to stick to traditional Haitian flavors, or do you adjust to suit different people's palates, or how do you find that balance?
For the most part, we keep it as the food that we grew up eating, as the food my mom grew up eating. That's how she cooks. It's filled with love, soul, and all the ingredients that we would try to typically find in Haiti are the ingredients that we're using for putting on these dinners. So it's not so much suiting towards the palates of the guests, because the guests are the ones that are trying to get that full experience. So it's more so just like an education saying, this is what Haitian food is. Some foods are bold, spicy, some are filled with citrus, and you get like the full spectrum of flavor. So it's introducing and educating on what Haitian food and cuisine is.
Cool. Can you walk me through a couple of the dishes that are going to be on the menu and briefly how they're made and what they taste like?
Yes, absolutely. So one of our main dishes is poulet sauce. So that is a stewed chicken and Creole sauce. So the chicken is marinated in our spice blend called épices, which is primarily used for a lot of the marinades for meats, fish, and then we use it for making sauces and the base for some rice dishes and vegetable dishes. So that's a blend of sweet peppers, hot peppers, citrus, herbs, and then we just traditionally it would be used in a mortar and pestle and ground like that, but because we're making such large batches, we do it in a food processor. So we take the chicken, marinated that for a day, and then from there we begin the cooking process. So we start the chicken off in just like a pan with minimal oil, and then cook that down just to let the chicken release its own juices. Then from there, we remove that, add the onion, peppers, tomato paste, and then add the juice from the chicken, and then season that with a little bit of adobo and some garlic powder, add the chicken back in, and let that stew down until it's pretty much like fork tender falling off the bone. Oftentimes that's served with jiri kole, so that's our national rice dish of Haiti, and that is kidney beans with rice. So we take the kidney bean water that's cooked the beans, and we take that water to cook the rice. So it has like that red tint, and we use the épices in there again. So it's kind of like tying those flavors and giving more bold flavor to just plain white rice. Another dish that we can't forget to mention is griot. So that is our marinated pork shoulder. So we take that and use the épices again, marinating that shoulder that's been chopped into little cubes, let that marinate for a day, and then we essentially boil it to kind of infuse all those flavors. Once it's boiled, then we remove it from the liquid and fry it to get a nice crispy and tender. Again, that's often served with rice, beans, any type of rice, and plantains. So the most common plantains that we serve are the banan peze. So that's twice fried plantain. That's the unripe plantain that we cut into bias cut, fry it, press it, and then soak it in a citrus salt solution, and then fry it again. So there you have like a fully cooked plantain, and then after it's fried the first time, then we smash it to make it nice and crispy.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and then another dish is legume. So that's just essentially stewed vegetables that are all just mixed together and served over rice.
And you just take whatever seasonal vegetables there are and make them, right?
Yes, correct. Well, for the legume, it's more so, there's a standard recipe of using like spinach, watercress, carrots, some squash in there, and just cooking all those things down. But it's more so the education of knowing when to add each ingredient, which was going to add the flavor and allow their own juices to seep out to really infuse the flavor of the stew.
I see. And so Ansanm is going to be Haitian, and how is that different from Greenleaf?
So Greenleaf focuses on sourcing ingredients from the local surroundings. So we are seasonally inspired, locally sourced. So during each season, and even in New England, we have micro seasons where we might see asparagus for 2 weeks. And then at that point, we're like, okay, asparagus is done. What's the next vegetable coming up? So we focus on these micro seasons by sourcing from the local farmers and really try to help tell the farmer story through the food that we're preparing.
And that's through a sort of Haitian American lens, but obviously also speaking to your own environment, as you would do if you were in Haiti. You would use local Haitian ingredients.
Exactly.
And so is this your second restaurant?
Yeah, so I've opened a bakery and sandwich shop before, and since then I've sold. But yeah, Ansanm will be third restaurant that I've opened, but second now in my portfolio.
And got any plans for the future? Probably not a lot, since you're working on opening a restaurant. That kind of keeps you busy, but.
Yes, it for sure does. My plans are, I mean, I'm fully immersing myself in Haitian cuisine and culture, learning from as many Haitian chefs and collaborators that I can to make sure that I'm not only teaching myself, but the information that I'm learning, I'm translating onto the community. Because Haitian cuisine culture has not been widely spread. So we as the Haitian American community, or Haitians who now live in America, have the opportunity to continue to promote our culture and educate those who might not be familiar with it. So I've definitely been kind of taking that full on and learning more about how I can infuse some of my teachings and trainings throughout the course of my culinary career and infuse that with Haitian flavors to make Haitian cuisine more well known and respected as one of the cuisines that should be top notch.
Awesome. And there probably are a lot of regional variations within Haitian cuisine too. So that's probably something else that you're exploring, huh?
Yes, exactly. So each region does carry its own flavors, variations of some of the common dishes that might be known in the more common parts of Haiti. So it's just pulling from each region and seeing, okay, this region I know has this food. How can I relate that to what I grew up eating? Or there's like still so much that I'm exploring, that my mom is even exploring and learning about the food that she hasn't even eaten before. So it's all like a learning process that we're going through together, which is great.
Excellent. Well, Chris, it was really nice to meet you. Thank you a lot for taking the time and also for educating the rest of us about Haitian cuisine, which is something I'm looking forward to eating more of.
Absolutely. I hope you have the opportunity to.
Oh, I bet I will. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.